Royal family feud. Is it really skin deep, or is skin not the only issue? Hello, my name is Nissy Tee and welcome to Watchman News. Breaking the breaking news. It was possibly the most anticipated interview of the year. Prince Harry and his wife Meghan Markle sat down with Queen, no, not that Queen, but Queen Oprah Winfrey for a tell-all interview, sharing their experience as they walked a turbulent journey as part of the royal family and their ultimate decision to separate themselves from the royals, which according to Meghan was a decision that saved her life. From the offset, it seemed like Meghan and Harry were never going to get an easy ride. And in all honesty, the moment that I saw who Harry had decided to join himself with in holy matrimony, I knew that it would be a difficult journey. And if anyone expected anything different or was even shocked by the things that were revealed, let's be very honest now. Was it really that shocking? Sad? Yes. Shocking? Absolutely not. So here we have Harry, a prince, a man brought up in the royal family who marries a mixed-race actress from the United States of America. And then they decide that they no longer want to be attached to the royal family in the way that they previously were. The whole world sat and watched in anticipation as we finally got to hear Meghan and Harry address some of the things many of us were thinking. One being what is probably the biggest bombshell from that interview, that according to Meghan, there were allegedly conversations about concerns within the royal family about how dark Archie's skin would be. Of course, Archie being their very firstborn, who I'm very sure that the royal family were relieved to see that actually turned out to have lighter skin anyway. According to Meghan, a few of these conversations were had in the royal family as there were concerns about what it would mean or look like if their baby's skin came out darker, possibly than a paper bag, or perhaps even anything near a paper bag at all. Meghan also revealed that the mounting pressure, tabloid scrutiny, and the royal family led to a decline in her mental health. So much so that she reached a point where she began to feel suicidal, with her stating that she just didn't want to be alive anymore. And that was a very real and clear and frightening and constant thought. Harry also mentioned that after their decision to split from the royal family, they were cut off financially, but they were being supported by money he was left by his late mother, Princess Diana, who ironically also did a tell-all interview in 1995 that also put her in some hot water. And of course, 2 years after this, she tragically died after being injured in a car crash while she was in Paris. A story which has, of course, had a number of suspicions and conspiracy theories, with many claiming that the royal family had in fact had her killed. Again, not something that has been verified, but something that has been suspected. Now, though Meghan and Harry had a lot to share about what they had been through over the past few years, they clearly still have enormous respect for the Queen, and they share that they still talk to her very often. This, however, wasn't enough to stop individuals, especially across social media, who shared their hurt, disdain, and anger at the way that Meghan especially had been treated by the royal family. Now, while we could talk about this all day, quite literally, let's take a moment to also talk about the fact that no one is talking about something very, very key. Now, not to take away from the conversation that Meghan and Harry were having, nor to take away from the experiences that they had, but something that has been forgotten. And that is about Prince Andrew, who has been able to continue with his life within the inner circle of the royal family and to live as though nothing had ever happened. Now, if you remember, right here on Watchman News, I reported a little while ago that Prince Andrew had been accused of also joining in with Jeffrey Epstein's disgusting behavior of abusing underage girls on his private island. Let's talk about that and how that has been brushed under the carpet. We are talking about underaged girls here. But yet again, the royal family continue to brush that under the carpet, and we continue to pretend as though it did not happen. But hey, I digress. Now, you all know that Tomi Arayomi and I haven't always seen eye to eye on some topics, especially when it comes to race. And today, I can definitely say that it was probably one of those days. Now, I sat down with him and had a conversation to talk about the biggest interview of the year. And this is exactly how it went. Take a look. What were some of your thoughts about the Meghan Markle, the big
debacle?
That's what, if you want to call it that. But the big interview that everyone was waiting for. Meghan Markle, Prince Harry sat down with the Oprah Winfrey.
I just think there's so many things involved in this debate that we're not exploring. And I think some of the things we're not exploring is the kind of the deification of archetypes that society has suspended in front of us and told us believe them because they're the specific archetype that suits the bill.
Okay.
They're black, they're a woman, they are, a particular sexuality or whatever their aesthetic qualities are that cause us to say A equals B. I'm black equals a white police officer did it. I'm this equals this was systemic racism. When there are so many things that actually led to this crumbling and this decay of relationship.
But do you not think that that was a big contributing factor? I mean, she came in as the first mixed-race person to come into probably the whitest
and I think that
institution.
that is the biggest problem. I don't know who to impugn more, Harry or Meghan, in that she came in with these kind of assumptions that she was just going to see nanny. It's crazy to me that you can be in a family where everybody's Caucasian, right? And everybody plays croquet. They don't, they don't play basketball. They don't play football. And listen, I'm not trying to be stereotypical here, but her name is not Shanika. She's not. Can we just be real? She's not Shanika. She's not like, y'all, I didn't know. I just thought I was gonna meet grandma. That she doesn't fit that bill. She's an intelligent woman. She knows. We can't be forced to suspend our disbelief for a second and just imagine Meghan is just some uneducated woman who came out of nowhere. But that's what we're led to believe in the first 15 minutes of the interview.
How?
I didn't know. I just thought I thought we curtsy behind closed doors.
Okay.
We didn't I thought we curtsy in public. We don't do it behind closed doors.
But that wasn't.
I thought I was just going to see.
I'm not going to lie to you because even myself, I would definitely say that I believe that I'm a educated young woman today.
That was the fly in my suit. That if you first 15 minutes was the fly in my suit.
I think it
even if the chef
right?
the waiter came out and took the fly out, I'd still believe the saliva of the fly and the feet of the fly and whatever it touched is still in that soup. It just muddied and sullied the interview for me because.
But then with that, and this is the thing, I don't think it should have necessarily muddied the rest of the interview purely because I think that it was an assumption. It was a bit of a silly assumption, but even with myself, I thought, wait, they actually curtsy even when they're just in their own private,
yeah, but like I
sphere.
said, I'm African, right?
Right.
You come to my mum, you're gonna say auntie. You ain't gonna say fufu.
Because mum's name, by the way, auntie is Auntie Funke, but I wouldn't come through your door and be like, hi Funks.
Hi Funks, hi Funks. Exactly,
right.
That's what I mean. You start from the top and you work your way down. That's how we socialize in our culture. We assume that people want to be Sir and Miss until they say, call me Bob, call me Joe. You don't go to your teacher and go, hey Bob, come here. He goes, excuse me, it's Sir to you, right? And that's how we're socialized. That's how we're culturalized. That's what I mean. There's so many nuances because you're talking about woke culture and the idea of woke culture.
Oh Lord, you've gone there again.
I'm sorry, I have to. It celebrates rights above responsibility, and so we're left with a young entitled people. I'm not saying Meghan's this, but this kind of the undertones that weren't talked about. This kind of entitlement that is not socialized, not culturalized. It's just like these are my rights as a woman, as this, and then this kind of Oprah-esque way of ignoring that and saying yes because we're trying to make A equal B. We're trying to confirm bias here. You know, that kind of shock and awe of Oprah was like, that all-white family that's been around for thousands of years said, what about your baby? I think Blockbuster, bum, bum, bum. And it's like, I'm sorry, they play croquet.
But the assumption.
And they release foxes and hounds to go and hunt them.
Right.
No, they are traditional Oh, I mean, listen, can I just, if it was Duke, let's say it was Duke Phil, what's his name? The Duke of Edinburgh.
The
Philip.
Duke, I think it's
Prince
Philip.
Philip.
Yeah.
Let's say it was Prince Philip that said it.
Right.
Would we care?
But this is the
no,
thing.
just would we
I
care?
don't think.
He's
I
an
don't
old
think. I don't think.
90-something-year-old man. He's like, what colour is this child? What colour is this child? How dark?
But see, this is the thing. I think this is where kind of we kind of start parting ways in terms of our opinions. Only because for me, it wasn't the shock in that they said that. It was the shock in that was still an issue or a concern in 2021.
Now, as you can see, we only gave you a short snippet of it because we did end up going into a longer conversation than we had initially planned. Now, if you want to watch the rest of that, please do head over and download the Rig Nation app where you'll find the full interview there. You can look at the link in the description box below and you can download it straight to your device where you can hear so much more about what we thought about this interview. And of course, I want to hear from you too. Don't forget to leave a comment below about the interview and your thoughts about what happens next, because that's the big question, right? What is next? Meghan and Harry have now come out and have opened up about some of the most difficult things that they could possibly talk about. But it's out there now and it has happened. In my personal opinion, and again, I say in my personal opinion, I truly do believe that there's no going back now. And I personally believe that they should be ready because the storm has only just started. Over now to Senegal, where protests have left at least 8 people dead, including a schoolboy, after there were clashes between protesters and the police. It is said that people torched cars, looted shops, and even hurled stones at police during protests that erupted after opposition leader Ousmane Sonko was arrested on charges of disturbing public order and for the alleged rape of a young lady who works in a beauty salon. According to Sonko, who has denied these very claims, he states that the rape charges are politically motivated and a plot to try and block him from being able to run for president in the upcoming elections of 2024. Many people who support Sonko have also claimed that it is the current government's smear campaign of a man who has been a fierce critic of the governing elite of Senegal. It has been said that Senegal's current president, Macky Sall, continues to face growing pressure to address one of the worst violent eruptions in the country in recent history. Sall has yet to publicly address the situation, but it has been said that people around him continue to push for him to speak to his people. The very people who, it seems, are using this as a chance to express their frustrations about so many other things, about unemployment, inequality, and even corruption, which have all been issues that have been highlighted within Senegal. Despite Senegal being one of West Africa's most stable democracies, nearly 47% of the population still live below the poverty line, and 67.5% of the population on less than $3.20 a day. The military and security forces had also been deployed in an attempt to bring about order, but it seems that the protesters were not fazed by it, as thousands of people continue to pour out into the streets day after day. Many arguing that this was also about the frustration that people have been feeling even during the pandemic, which made things worse. Senegal, just like every other country in the world, was also hit by this pandemic, and it seems like the restrictive measures forced a number of people out of work. Day-to-day work, which would and quite literally means that people can eat on that day. An issue that grew so bad that for the first time in years, people in Senegal had to rely on food aid. The economic fallout has opened up a wound that it seems that no plaster will be able to cover at this point. Now, what is happening in Senegal is nothing we haven't spoken about right here on Watchman News. People want to be heard, and they're ready and willing to do whatever it takes to be listened to, even if it means dying on the line. That is how much people want democracy. That is how much people refuse to be ignored. And with that, and as we continue to think about the unrest that is happening all across the globe, a question that came up that I really want us to pay attention to is this: how many of us, how many people are really ready to die on the line? Not just in vain, but for our neighbor. And let me specifically ask that question to the body of Christ, to the church today. How many of us are willing to stand up, just like Sister Anne Rosa, and to stand up in the middle of the crossfire and say enough is enough? Where has our backbone gone? Where is our courage? And most importantly, the most important question, where is our love? Because that love is what would allow us to see injustice and to stand up and say that it is wrong. It is that love that will tell us that when we see something happening to those that cannot defend themselves, it is time for us to stand up and to defend. We need to stop hiding behind closed doors and letting the world dictate where we go. We need to stop hiding behind closed doors and allowing darkness to overcome light. We are the light of the world. So when will we finally get a backbone and stand up, take position, and to actualize the changes that we declare and that we say that we want to see in this world? Because that is the authority that we have, not just in heaven, but also on earth. And with that, I'd like to thank you once again for tuning into Watchman News. Again, don't forget to leave a comment below because you know I definitely will be reading them. And as I always say, this is not just a monologue. This is always a conversation. And don't forget to also subscribe to our brand new home, the Watchman News YouTube channel. And with that, I'll see you again next time. Take care.